Hey, George, you have won a war. What about becoming the king now?
How do you people wave like this all day? My arm's killing me.
Imagine this, George Washington, fresh off beating the British, hanging up his muddy boots, and someone whispers, "Hey George, how about you skip this whole messy democracy thing and just be king?" Yep, the United States of America, with crowns, thrones, royal decrees, and maybe a royal palace instead of the White House. Can you picture Washington? In a glittery crown, trying to wave gracefully like Queen Elizabeth. Yeah, neither can I. But here's the shocking part. It almost happened. And if Washington had said yes, America as we know it might not exist today. It's 1783. The American Revolution is basically wrapping up. The British are packing their bags, the colonies are exhausted. And George Washington, he just wants to go home, plant some crops, and finally sleep in his own bed for once. But here's the problem. The brand new United States is flat broke. Congress can't pay the army. Soldiers who fought for years are angry, restless, and honestly, thinking about rebellion themselves. Imagine it. You've risked your life against the most powerful empire in the world, and now your paycheck bounces. Not a good look for a fresh democracy. This is the fragile moment where the country could have tipped, either toward chaos or toward a very different kind of government. And Washington? He's about to be offered a crown.
Wait, didn't we just fight a war to not have a king?
Here's where it gets wild. A group of frustrated officers and politicians start whispering, "Hey, maybe this whole democracy thing isn't working out." And what do they suggest? A king. Yes, after years of fighting against monarchy, they want to crown their own leader. And who better than the man who just beat the British King's army? George Washington. Washington had the popularity. He had the loyalty of the troops. He had the perfect hero-general resume. In short, if he wanted to grab the throne, nobody could have stopped him. Imagine the headlines. Revolutionary War hero becomes King of America. No refunds. But here's the twist. Washington didn't want it. He listened politely, then shut it down hard. He basically told them, "Thanks, but no crowns for me. I just fought a whole war to get rid of one."
No, for God's sake, no! No royal tag, please. I don't want to move like a sloth.
So why didn't George Washington grab the crown? Let's be real. Plenty of leaders throughout history would have taken it in a heartbeat. Napoleon crowned himself. Julius Caesar took the title until a bunch of senators gave him the Julius treatment. But Washington? He had a different playbook. First, he genuinely feared monarchy. He believed America's revolution would be pointless if they just swapped out King George III for King George Washington. That would have been the biggest plot twist and the biggest betrayal in U.S. history. Second, Washington saw himself as a Cincinnatus figure. Cincinnatus was a Roman farmer who was given absolute power during a crisis, and then gave it up to go back to his plow. Washington loved that story. He wanted to be remembered not as a king, but as the guy who walked away from power. And third, he was painfully aware that the young republic was fragile. If he set the precedent of kingship, every future general might start eyeing the throne too. That's how you get civil wars, coups, and one messy America. So Washington refused. He put down his sword, went home to Mount Vernon, and basically said, "No thanks, I'm good with my farm." And in doing so, he became, ironically, even more legendary than if he had taken the crown.
Nice hat. Wrong guy. King George Washington.
All right, but let's play the forbidden game. What if Washington had said, "Sure, bring me the crown"? First off, America wouldn't have had a president. We'd have had a king. And King George Washington I doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, does it? Imagine every 4th of July. Fireworks celebrating our monarchy. That's awkward. Second, Washington's successors might have turned into dynasties. Instead of Adams and Jefferson arguing about philosophy, you'd have Washington's grandkids fighting over who gets the crown jewels. Third, America probably never invents democracy as we know it. Congress? Just a royal advisory board. The Constitution? More like King George's rules for everyone else. And you know what? The irony is delicious. We fought a revolution to get rid of one King George and almost ended up with another. It would have changed the entire trajectory of American history. And instead of a republic, the United States might have looked a lot more like Britain. Or even worse, France during the Revolution. With wigs. Lots and lots of wigs.
Citizens, today's royal decree. No taxes on cherry trees. Also, mandatory wig day.
And here's the punchline of history. George Washington said no. By refusing the crown, he set the tone for everything that followed. No dynasties, no throne rooms, no royal decrees. Just the messy, frustrating, but ultimately groundbreaking experiment called American democracy. It wasn't perfect, far from it. But Washington's choice created space for a republic that could grow, adapt, and be challenged by the people themselves. So the next time you hear someone complain about politics, about elections, Congress, or the endless debates, just remember, it could have been worse. We could have been singing, "God Save King George Washington." And that, my friends, would have been the biggest plot twist in American history.
Best crown's a pumpkin anyway.